Hey, so I just spent over $1,300 on a new tripod setup, and I want to talk about the reasons why behind this purchase. Why would I spend this much money on a tripod? And it's all just for a set of sticks that you put your camera on to keep things stable. Let's talk about these reasons by way of talking about the different tripods that I've owned over the years, and hopefully we can come to a conclusion together about what kind of tripod, how much you should actually be spending on a tripod, and what's right for you. And we won't be talking about the fact that for the intro of my tripod video, I'm actually filming on a C-stand. So the first tripod that I owned, and probably the first tripod that many of us owned, is what I'm gonna call the gas station tripod, the plastic fantastic. And after one too many times almost dropping my camera like into water or it just falling over on its own, that was when I knew that I needed to upgrade. And that's probably an upgrade that makes sense for everybody. This is like the first serious tripod that I bought. This is aluminum, this is a Mifoto travel tripod, and you know, it's a great start. It was so much more solid than that plastic tripod that I had. This has got a ball head, but I actually did have at the time a basic intro fluid head, and I was shooting on DSLRs, mirrorless cameras. Weight wasn't really an issue. It's super collapsible, it's super portable, and that's the reason that I still have it today. An entry-level video tripod might look a little something like this. This is a carbon fiber Manfrotto tripod that has a basic fluid head on top. Now, it's still just about best for your mirrorless cameras, your hybrid DSLRs, that kind of thing. It's not really going to handle the weight of a cinema camera. And this is part of the upgrade equation. This was the upgrade tripod that I had. Right now is my second tripod, but it wasn't amazing for even just my C100 minimally kitted out. The fluid head was really struggling to pan and tilt smoothly, and with no counterbalance system, the camera had a tendency to drop suddenly if you didn't lock it completely, almost over tightening it. So these two tripods, my first upgrade after the plastic fantastic, kind of my generic entry-level Manfrotto tripod, those were great until I was moving up into the cinema camera world, and that's when I made the purchase of my first serious tripod. So this guy, which I don't have to hold up to show in the frame, this was my first serious tripod. And as you get into bigger tripods, you realize you can buy the tripod head and the tripod legs separately. And so I went with the good old 502 video head, which is so common at the, you know, prosumer entry-level serious tripod level. And then the 55 XB aluminum legs, they're not huge, they're not like overly heavy. So these legs kind of met the right level of, they still get tall enough to be useful, but they can collapse down and they're not super heavy. The head can take the weight of my fully kitted out C200 setup, which is awesome. It has plenty of tension. The locks still work great. It's starting to get beat up from being underneath the plane, and so that is, well, that's not justification for spending as much money as I did. I knew it was time to kind of start refreshing things when the handle started getting bent and a leg kind of came off. One of the legs is still just a little bit messed up. But this is my first entry into serious tripods, and you know, for a lot of people, this is probably where you need to be, finding the right mix of a video head that is super solid, has really smooth pan and tilt, and it has enough weight capacity that whatever camera that you have, say you upgrade just a little bit, you know, you don't want to buy for, oh, what if I have an Arri Alexa Classic and I'm putting 45 pounds on my video head when all that you own maybe is a C100, a C200, an FS5. But you want to have a little bit of headroom so that it's not like, oh, I want to add an extra monitor so that I can see a monitor and my AC can see a monitor. Whoops, it's too heavy for my tripod and now everything's all out of balance. You need to buy a video head that is appropriate for your needs. And then, oh no. So, and ironic that this happens as I'm shooting it, this is the kind of stuff that was happening. This leg just has had so many problems because it has gotten bent in my bag too many times, and so now it's really just kind of bent out of shape, and I don't think it's ever going to correctly fit back in. So don't get me wrong, this is like absolutely a fantastic option for getting into serious tripods if you're a videographer. So why am I upgrading? So one, it's no fault of Manfrotto, but this has just gotten beaten up and abused, and it's never gonna work perfectly again. Those kind of things have me on the lookout for a new tripod. The other thing is that I do need to have two tripods that can hold cinema camera setups. So I knew that I would need to add a second solid, serious tripod to my arsenal. So the specifics that made me want to upgrade. The second thing, I'm gonna see if I can replicate this. So see, I'm like smooth panning and then it pops. This thing keeps coming loose, and I'm not sure if it's a fault of the head or if it's a fault of the attachment to the legs, but if I attach this here, you know, it feels good, and then if I turn the tension up, it just keeps popping out. So there's a solution, don't go write angry comments yet. I have to lock the pan axis all the way. So we lock that in there, and then really just crank the head to lock it on there. Unlock the pan axis again, and then we're good to go. It makes the head almost impossible to take off of this set of legs when you crank it all the way on, because you're basically just over tightening the head onto the leg. So this isn't a big issue if this is just your studio tripod, if this is something that you're putting in your car and you're driving to gigs, but since I fly to gigs so much and I have to take off the tripod head to have the tripod fit in my suitcase, it just makes it really frustrating because it is difficult to get off. And like, I'm not the strongest person on the planet, not the weakest person on the planet, and it's just really annoying to have to keep doing that. And then if I forget to tighten it all the way and I'm doing a pan and then all of a sudden it pops, it's like, oh, well, okay, I just kind of hold it with my hand until I have a chance to reset. Another thing that is frustrating, and you'll see this on, I mean, a lot of tripods, the legs work like this. So you've got multiple different clamps for different levels of putting the leg out, no problem. But you do that, but it gets really hard when, say you've got an interview set up and you get to the right height for your first interview subject, you've got your camera package already on the head, and then the next person comes in and they're taller and you need to raise up the camera. And you don't want to just raise it using the center column because that's just a little more unstable and you want the shot to be super locked off. Then you've got to crouch down on the ground and open from, because you should be opening from the bottom up. You gotta open it up and then kind of like shove it, and if it's just one person, you know, it's just an awkward motion, it's an uncomfortable motion, and it does feel pretty unsteady in terms of having the camera on the top and having to open it from the bottom. So that was something that, you know, I was ready to be done with. And of course, as you're shopping for tripods, I've got 2 Manfrotto tripods here. That doesn't mean that you have to buy Manfrotto. They just made sense for me in terms of features and price. I know there are absolutely cheaper brands out there that you can explore, and then there's some comparable brands like Benro. Benro makes awesome tripods, which you should definitely check out. And depending on what model, what leg and head combination you're going for, you might save a few bucks here or there, or you might get some extra features. So definitely do your research, and if you can get your hands on a tripod, absolutely do that. So what you just saw me do there is definitely one of the top reasons that I got these tripod legs, but let's talk about it a little more specifically. What is the why behind this purchase? Again, this is not something that everybody needs to make. I'm not saying that like you're not a real videographer unless you own a tripod like this. And I'm not gonna try to make any claims that like my stories are going to be better because I have this tripod, or necessarily that my shots are gonna be better. But in the world of videography, in the world of filmmaking, you get used to after a while that there's this law of diminishing returns. You need to pay more and more for little conveniences. You know, the tripod that I have right now gets it done, but the little conveniences that come with this model actually cost a lot of money, which is a little frustrating, but I'm kind of used to it at this point, and I absolutely think that this is an investment in my business, and it's an investment that will hopefully last for many years. Basically, what my decision process boils down to is this tripod is a much more efficient and strategic tool for making films that's gonna save me time on set and make me more efficient and give me access to shots that I didn't have before with my previous equipment. And what does that mean? Okay, so for one thing, right? Your regular tripod, you have to level using the legs. This is a bowl head tripod. That's the other kind of mount. So you have a flat base. That's what a lot of your tripods are. It's just this flat base. This is a bowl mount. What that allows me to do is I don't just have to use the legs on the tripod to level. Leveling your shots is huge, and it can take a little bit of time, especially if you're a solo operator. This method of leveling, just unscrew, level, screw to tighten. Done. That is going to save me time on set. I'm going to get level shots, and that in turn saves me time in the edit from having to level my shots after the fact. So that's just one little thing. Again, I really want to stress how awesome, and this is why you pay for German engineering, this system of lifting the tripod, locking it off. Talk about this counterbalance system. That's a safety thing. That keeps my rig safer because it's not going to be tipping, falling all over the place, and it just adds another level of smoothness because everything is nicely in balance. So you're not having to fight your camera rig, say as you're panning up, if everything's way too front heavy, you're not fighting the camera rig as you're getting a smooth shot. It's also giving me access to more low mode shots. I like having a mid-level spreader because what that actually does here is the footprint for this tripod is smaller. The footprint when it is all the way up is smaller than my other tripod, and so that means I can squeeze into a smaller space and my set just stays a little bit cleaner. My director can get his chair just a little bit closer to the camera. Those are all fantastic things. I mean, it does go up a little bit further too. And when you pay for products like this, you do get a better warranty. I got a nice carry bag, just some little things, some things that you don't get with a cheaper tripod. Because you're paying the premium, they treat you well and they give you premium accessories that come with it. And another bonus with this tripod is that it takes Manfrotto tripod plates. That's a great thing. Not all tripod plates are created equal. And so it's fantastic to have something that is already compatible with the 1,000,001 different small, large, whatever Manfrotto tripod plates that I have. I gotta say, like, I didn't understand until I unboxed this and started using this that user experience can actually be a part of owning a tripod. Yeah, maybe, you know, as I'm making this video, it makes it just sound like I spent a lot of money on a cool toy and that there's not really any reason. Like, there are absolutely reasons. Like, there is definitely a purpose and a reason why Sachtler are on big sets. And as soon as I saw the first video that I saw, this method, I saw somebody changing their tripod around like this and not having to bend all the way down to the ground to level things out. I was like, wow, something clicked in my mind and I was like, that is how a tripod is meant to be worked. So this isn't just an expensive toy. This is an investment in my business. It's a tax deduction. Hey, that's a plus. But I am super happy with my purchase, and I do want to make quick mention of the fact that I got this from Cine Kitless. Travis over there is doing fantastic stuff, setting up group buys and major discounts. If you head on over to the link in the description, you can check out Cine Kitless. They do group buys a couple times a quarter. Things are a little different right now, but if you're looking to pick up great professional equipment at a much lower price, they are a fantastic way to do it, and it's all through Adorama, so you have absolute confidence in the products that you're getting. But anyway, that's just a look at different tripods, different levels of tripods. There's nothing wrong with not buying the most expensive tripod in the world, and there are absolutely more expensive tripods than this, but you just need to analyze what is it that you need, what are you willing to spend to get what you need, and how will those little things that make your life easier or help you operate faster, what are those little things worth, what is your time on set worth, and how can the tools that you select impact how much time it takes you to create awesome images.
All right, Drew, do your magic.